You know, dealing with a dysfunctional family has got to be one of the most difficult, most draining challenges we can face. It's exhausting, and it can feel incredibly lonely. So, the whole point of this explainer isn't about how to fix your family, because let's be real, that's usually way out of our control. Instead, we're going to focus on giving you some real practical strategies to protect your own peace.
Okay, let's start with this right here. This sentence is going to be our anchor. I did not cause it, I cannot control it, and I cannot cure it. This is so important because family dysfunction is a system problem, a pattern that was probably in motion long before you ever showed up. It is not a personal failure. And really truly letting that sink in, that's the first real step towards feeling free.
All right, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by really validating what you're going through. Then we'll dive into some huge mindset shifts that help you take your power back. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of setting boundaries, talk about why building your own support system is a game changer, and finally, look at what the long road of healing really looks like.
First things first, before you can even think about changing anything, you have to look at the situation for what it is, without sugarcoating it or making excuses. This is all about just validating your own experience and all the messy, complicated feelings that come right along with it. And you're probably feeling this whole mix of stuff, right? Anger at how unfair it is, a deep sadness for the family you wish you had, maybe even some guilt, or just plain confusion. All of it, every single feeling is valid. It makes perfect sense to feel this way. Just acknowledging that, maybe writing it down, or even just telling yourself, yeah, it makes sense I feel angry about this, that's a huge act of kindness to yourself. So once we've let ourselves feel the feelings, then what? Well, since we can't control what other people do, our real power comes from turning that focus inward. We're going to talk about the things we can actually control: our own thoughts, our expectations, and our reactions. And this right here is such a game changer. There's a type of hope that actually keeps us stuck in pain. It's that hope that this time they'll finally change. But then there's a different kind of hope, a hope that heals. And that's when you shift your focus from them to you, believing, I can learn to handle this better. Now that puts the steering wheel right back in your hands. And that leads us to this really powerful idea of an internal boundary. Look, this isn't about building a giant wall around your heart. Think of it more like an emotional shield. When someone says something provocative, you just don't have to engage. You can still care about them, but you don't have to let their drama become your drama. Now, this is a step that's so easy to skip, but it is absolutely crucial. You have to give yourself permission to grieve the family you deserved, but maybe didn't get. It's a real loss like any other. And by actually letting yourself feel that sadness and work through it, you stop it from having so much power over your life today. Okay, I have to stop here for a second because this is the most important thing we'll talk about. If your situation involves abuse of any kind, physical, emotional, any of it, or if you ever feel unsafe, then your safety is the absolute #1 priority. The stuff we're talking about is for navigating dysfunction, but safety is non-negotiable. Please reach out for professional help. All right, so we've done some of that internal work. Now let's talk about how to bring that into the real world. This is where we get into the practical side of things, setting, and just as key, enforcing actual boundaries.
So what is a boundary, really? It's actually super simple. It's just a rule you make for yourself about how you'll allow other people to treat you. And remember, this is not about punishing them or trying to control them. It's 100% an act of self-protection for your own well-being.
And this chart just lays it out perfectly. A good boundary has 2 parts, what they do and what you will do in response. See the formula? If you do X, then I will do Y. So if you start criticizing my choices, I'm going to say I'm not discussing this and change the subject. It's clear, it's about your action, and it puts you in the driver's seat. Creating space is another huge one, and it's also a form of a boundary. This doesn't have to mean completely cutting someone off. It can just be keeping visits to an hour instead of 5, or taking a walk by yourself during a chaotic family gathering. It's all about managing the dose of interaction so it doesn't overwhelm you. Okay, for those really provocative, toxic comments, there's this technique called the gray rock method. The goal is basically to make yourself as boring and uninteresting as a plain gray rock. So when they try to get a rise out of you, you give them a flat, non-committal answer like, that's one way to see it. They're looking for drama, and you're just not going to give it to them. And maybe the most important tool in your entire toolkit is this. No is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone a dissertation explaining your boundaries. No, that doesn't work for me. Period. End of story. It is such a powerful way to take back your time and your energy. You know, coping isn't just about defense. It's not just about managing the bad stuff. It's also about proactively building up the good stuff. And that means creating a support system of people who actually see you, value you, and have your back. So who are these people, your chosen family? Well, they're the ones who fill you up instead of draining you. They're the friends, the partners, the mentors, the people who give you that validation and love you might be missing somewhere else. Pouring your energy into these relationships is one of the most healing things you can possibly do. All right, let's zoom out and talk about the long game here, because healing from all this stuff, well, it's not a one-and-done kind of thing. It's a journey. So let's look at the pillars that are going to support you for the long haul. I'd like to think of this as having 3 main pillars to lean on. First, therapy. Getting a professional on your side can give you tools and perspective that are just invaluable. Second, educate yourself. Reading books and learning about family dynamics can be so empowering because you start to understand the why behind everything. And third, you have to practice self-care relentlessly. And let's get one thing straight. When we talk about self-care in this context, we are not talking about luxuries. This is about survival. This is the basics, taking care of your physical body with sleep and good food, your emotional health with things you enjoy, and your social health by plugging into that chosen family we just talked about. So as we're wrapping up, I really want you to take this to heart. This is a journey. There are going to be good days and there are going to be really hard days. The goal isn't to be perfect. It's just to keep moving forward. Be so patient and kind to yourself through all of it. So I'm going to leave you with this question. After all this stuff we've covered, from the big mindset shifts to the little practical actions, what is one small thing, one tiny step you can take, maybe even right now, to start protecting your peace?